So yet another washout in the Cricket World Cup on Tuesday between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. 2 days in a row, unfortunately. And it didn't look great for Taunton a few days ago, but things have certainly improved. Let's hope we get plenty of playing for Australia against Pakistan, which promises to be quite an interesting sort of clash, doesn't it, Kev?
Yeah, it certainly does, Steve. Yeah, you're right about the forecast. Thankfully, it's east. There can't be no more rain left in the West Country. The clouds must have emptied everything they've got by now, surely, to crust. I live in the southeast and it's still raining here, so hopefully we've got it all, and the southwest haven't. Yeah, you're right. This should be a really, really good game. Matches between Australia and Pakistan, probably on the second rung of competitiveness to India and Pakistan, and obviously both sides have got a loss on their record, and neither will want to at this stage of the tournament, particularly Pakistan, of course, who've had a washout as well. So, yeah, I'm expecting a good competitive game of cricket here, I must admit.
Yeah, let's start with the weather forecast, and it's going to be cloudy all day at Taunton. Maybe a bit of rain later on, sort of 6 p.m, 7 p.m, but the game might be done by then. Who knows? I was searching around on Twitter, and there's a bloke. I don't know if you've ever come across him, Kev. He's called Bryn Jones. I think he's somehow linked to Somerset ground staff. Anyway, he took a photo on Twitter 5 p.m. yesterday. That's on Tuesday, and the ground actually looks fairly good. And he actually commented to someone on Twitter, there's been no standing water since midday. If there was a T20 due to start tonight at 6:30, they'd probably be starting right on time. So, obviously, there will be. I think this will be a 50-over game, presuming there's no overnight rain, which I don't think there's going to be. So I think we're going to get plenty of playing, so we can get stuck into this match from a betting point of view, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. I mentioned in the podcast that we did on Tuesday that there hasn't been much rain around in the UK recently. Unfortunately, it's all come in $1, hasn't it? But grounds will be absolutely fine. They can handle this rain. It will get through. So, yeah, I mean, I expect Taunton to be good. They've got great ground staff down there, haven't they? Their wickets are prepared exactly how they want them to be. So they know what they're doing. Like you say, let's attack this as a normal 50-over game. Don't worry about the fact that there's clouds around. Somerset do have floodlights now, so there's no danger of bad light stopping play or anything like that. So apart from those showers that are forecast, like you say, sort of 6 or 7 o'clock, we're going to be fine.
Yeah, so how do you see this match going there, Kev? Because from a Pakistan point of view, we've seen loads of different sides to them, haven't we? We saw the horrible display against the West Indies. Then they shockingly beat England. And now they've had a rained-off game. Typical Pakistan, really, isn't it? A win, a lose, and a draw. Will they... The match that they got rained off, they could have done with that being played, really, I think. Build their momentum. Would they be a little bit not as sharp, do you think, because of the gap in the games?
I wouldn't think so. They'll have been training a lot. I've seen plenty of videos from Somerset's Twitter feed and people associated with them about how they've been training with the youngsters and things like that at Taunton. Of course, Azhar Ali's down there, isn't he? So I'm sure he'll have set up plenty of training camps for them and things like that. So I wouldn't have thought that they're going to be rusty or anything like that. Like you say, though, we've seen the Jekyll and the Hyde of this side, and you never really know which one's going to come about until the day itself. I don't think they know, so we've got no chance of knowing. Yeah. But they should have plenty of fire in their belly, shouldn't they? They've just been walloped 5-0 in their, I say their own conditions, but in the UAE by Australia just a couple of months ago. So if that doesn't fire them up, nothing will. And obviously, as I've said, they've basically gone 2 games without winning this tournament. That loss in the opening game and the rained-off game, they really can't afford to finish their 4th game and only have 1 win on the board. So the league table should dictate that they play really well.
Yeah, but I mean, they got walloped by England, didn't they, in the recent series here, and then beat them. So it would be just like Pakistan to turn up with a performance. But logically, on paper, they're going to have some problems, aren't they, against the pace of Stark and Cummins? That just doesn't feel like it's going to match up very well for Pakistan.
You wouldn't think so, but I mean, they seem to handle Jofra Archer pretty well, didn't they? I guess the thing is they've just got to box clever against them too. If India showed anything to the world on Sunday, it was that once you get through those two, there isn't an awful lot left in this bowling attack. Maybe that's a little bit harsh on Coulter-Nile, but I think he needs the right conditions to be at his absolute maximum. There's certainly no decent part-timers, are there? And you would think that Zamba and Maxwell, who's likely to bowl a fair few overs in this match, are unlikely to trouble a Pakistan batting lineup. So yeah, if they get through those first two bowlers, they should be able to make hay, Pakistan. I mean, to be fair, in that series out in the UAE, they had absolutely no trouble scoring runs. Admittedly, Mitchell Starc wasn't around for that, but you know, Behrendorff is a good bowler. Kane Richardson, another good bowler. You know, they still piled up the runs in that series. They just couldn't stop Aaron Finch, and I guess ultimately that'll be what decides this one as well.
How do you see their bowlers going in this sort of game then, Pakistan?
I think they'll be fine. The only thing is, as I've mentioned before when we've covered a game at Taunton, there's absolutely nothing in this wicket, so they're going to have to use all of their variation. I think we saw that in the Afghanistan game here, didn't we, the other day, Afghanistan against New Zealand. There's absolutely nothing in this pitch. It's a small ground, so it probably doesn't suit Pakistan's spinners, so they might have to think about playing an extra seamer. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. I really like the fact that Wahab Riaz is back in their attack, and obviously when these two sides met 4 years ago, he bowled one of the spells of the tournament, didn't he? That confrontation with Shane Watson, which people still talk about now. It was just a fantastic spell of bowling, much like the Lockie Ferguson to Shakib Al Hassan in the Oval last week. It was an iconic spell of bowling, and I fancy he'll be right up for this game. So yeah, I see them going well, but at the same time, all of this Australian batting lineup's now in form, isn't it, after Sunday?
Yeah, let's talk on to some bets for the game then. And West Indies against Australia, you were entering the wides market, and you're going into that department once again here, over 14.5 wides, 888. Basically, give us the reasonings there, please, Kev.
Yeah, I kind of think that wides happen a fair bit when there's a left armer in each bowling attack, left arm seamer in each bowling attack, purely because they're not used to bowling. I don't think they're used to bowling at sort of left and right hand combinations, and that was the case in that West Indies Australia game, wasn't it? In fact, there was 5 wides in both of the opening balls in that game. But it's going to be the same here. I mean, obviously Pakistan have got Amir, they've got Wahab Riaz, and Australia open with David Warner and Aaron Finch. And I think we noticed at the Oval on Sunday that if Aaron Finch goes first, Steve Smith will come in to keep that left-right hand combination, and same with Khawaja, should it be Warner who goes first. So they're always going to be bowling at left hand and right hand, and it's difficult to adjust your line and your length and everything. And that's exactly the same when Australia come to bowl. They've got Mitchell Starc, Fakhar Zaman is a left-hander, Imam Ul Haq is a right-hander. Pat Cummins will have the same problem with the new ball as well. So I can see quite a few sort of leg side wides in this match just by bowlers not correcting their line quickly enough. But also Australia are going to use the short ball, aren't they? And there's absolutely nothing for being full on this ground. Nothing apart from getting swatted out of the ground, that is. And so they're going to have to box clever. They're going to have to use that short ball. And, you know, if they're a little bit too short, then we're going to see some wides. Although the outfield's going to be fine, it's still going to be lush, isn't it? So the ball's going to pick up a bit of moisture as the innings goes on too. So they're going to be bowling with a fairly wet ball at times. That'll probably contribute to a few more wides. Pakistan's bowling attack is as undisciplined as they come. So all things being equal, I think we're going to get to 15 wides in this game.
Yeah, it looks a good pick to me. Certainly, I mean, in the last game, I mean, Australia are averaging about 8 or 9 wides, aren't they? I think in this tournament per innings. But I think certainly the shorter boundary behind the back of the behind the keeper there might help to get a couple of 5 wides at some point in this game. Whoever may send it down. So yeah, looks like a good pick there. You've got one other selection for the game. Glenn Maxwell, top Australian batsman. What price is that one?
8-1 at Coral, Steve.
So Maxwell's coming in about number 5 at the moment. What do you think? What do you like about him at this particular venue, especially?
Well, first of all, it's not big enough for him. That's one thing we do know. Not many grounds are, to be fair, but this one certainly isn't. So even if he's got to catch a score, he's going to be scoring quickly enough on this ground. I mean, he'll hit the ball for 6 here. That is for sure. He's got a good record against Pakistan as well. He's played against them 17 times, 15 innings, and he averages 55 with the bat. Last 3 scores, 70, 98, 71. They were all this year. He's actually got 750s in those 15 innings. But if I just go through all of his scores, 38, 28, 56 not out, 21, 76, 20, 44 not out, 60, 23, 78, 13, 19, 71, 98 and 70. So he's always got starts against them. And on this ground, if he gets a start, I would expect him to go very big.
Yeah, good little selection there. Glenn Maxwell, top Australian batsman. I've got one pick to add for this game, and I'm going into the boundaries department. Over 48.5 fours. That is a Betway. And this basically has to be come off the bat here, and it can't be an all-run 4 either. Basically, it's got to be a shot off the bat that goes to the boundary. Overthrows don't count, and say all-run 4s don't count. But this ground is very small at Taunton. You're talking 60, 65 metres max from the centre of the wicket, and it was interesting to me. I looked at the stats of the Afghanistan-New Zealand game down here. Bear in mind that was 171 all out against 173 for 3, and I think basically 40 overs were bowled at Afghanistan, about 30 were bowled at New Zealand. But in that match there were 45 fours in that game, and it wasn't exactly. It didn't stick out to me as a massive amount of hitting, especially the New Zealand innings, which Williamson was all over struggling left, right, and centre, wasn't he? Nudging and nurdling. So if they can produce 45 fours in that space of time, I think both of these two sides can produce 49 of them, Kev. I think the only way this isn't going to win is if someone gets bowled out for about 150 or less, which is possible with Pakistan, don't get me wrong. Definitely possible. But I certainly think if Australia win the toss here, if Australia are batting first here, which would mean Pakistan probably have to win the toss, but I would be very confident of it coming in there. If Pakistan are in bat, yeah, of course I'm going to be nervous. But if they can edge their way up to just 200, which isn't asking an awful lot here, then I would think this bet can come in. I mean, I would be looking at the sixes, to be honest, but I look at the lineups and there's not a massive amount of 6 hitters, is there? Fakar, Glenn Maxwell, but apart from that, then there's a lot of natural stroke players that like to hit it on the ground, like Babar Azam, Steve Smith. So I like going with 4s here, Kev, to be honest. No performances for me today. I mean, I looked at a couple, especially Cummins and Stark, but I think today I'm just going to be going for these 4s.
Yeah, fair enough, Steve. It's a decent shout. Obviously, good research with the 45 boundaries in the last game. I think you're going to land safely unless everything goes for 6. But like you say, that's unlikely with these two sides. Most of the boundaries are going to be on the floor, particularly if Babar Azam does most of the scoring. Hopefully for us, Steve Smith does a decent chunk of the scoring for Australia too, albeit not as heavily as Maxwell. And everyone will be a winner.
So yeah, 3 pictures there for this game. Let's hope we get a full day's playing, and it's a good match of cricket. So thanks very much, Kev.
No problem, Steve. Thanks, mate.
We'll see you for the next match, India against New Zealand. Take care.